Dad Mod's Media Machine presents the Brews with the Dudes podcast.
And you to do things. Ta-da. Did it do things? I think it did things.
Yep, we're good.
I think so. Okay, so we've got audio, we've got video, we've got a camera.
We got lights.
We got a lot of motorcycles over here.
We have a motorcycle over here. We have a motorcycle back there.
We have a motorcycle there, we got a motorcycle there, and a bunch outside. Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of the Brews with the Dudes podcast. I am Jake Lindquist.
I am Donnie Allen.
And we are brought to you today by Hershey's.
Yes.
No, we're not. No, we're not. It'd be super cool if we were, but we're not.
Yeah, I think we'd be much bigger.
The only Hershey's that I have to tell you about is a squirt that happened yesterday.
Did you shut yourself at work?
I'm going to get just straight into this, buddy. While it was occurring, I was positive I was shitting myself.
Oh, God.
And I'll never know. I'll tell you the whole story. Okay.
How do you not know?
Well, I'll never know because let me just tell you the story. Okay, so I just get these bouts of like sudden need to shit every once in a great while.
Oh, yeah.
It might be irritable bowel syndrome. It might just be that I ate the wrong thing. I mean, I did eat a gas station cheeseburger the night before.
That's Russian roulette right there.
But that's the thing, is it was a full day later. So usually when those things hit you, it's like 35 minutes later or 35 seconds later.
Within the hour.
You have a super soaker coming out your behind. So anyway, I am getting home and I'm feeling a little bit of that pressure. And I'm like, I need to get moving. And it's like, I'm like 4 blocks away and I'm like, oh boy, this is going to be a problem. And so I'm racing in and I park. And when you have to shit that badly, you're like, every movement is a little bit scary and a little challenging.
Yeah, you're trying to clench everything and you can't walk and clench.
Move and stairs. So anyway, like my bathroom is on the upstairs. So, I was sure I was shitting myself. Like, I was so positive that I was shitting myself. And it was like, I've never actually felt as though it is happening when in this situation when I get these like rush scenarios, because like I've made it like by like a nanosecond sitting on the toilet, and it's like, it's happening the system instantly.
It's just all coming out.
In this instance, it was like, yeah, I don't know how graphic I should get with this, but I was pretty sure I was shitting myself. I was opening the door and closing it, and I was like, oh no. And it's like, if you've ever had those moments and you've like about shit yourself, it happens in pulses because you're fighting to try, like, it's like Arnold Schwarzenegger trying to open a closed door or something, And so I am, like, you hit that point of like, oh, my pants are down. Okay, I can start relaxing.
But you're not sitting down yet.
You're not sitting down yet. Yeah. So I sat down really fast as that was happening. And my thought is like, what's a good example of this? It's like if you pour out a glass, but you move the glass down really fast, you figure like, if you move as fast as the liquid, it's not going to splash everywhere.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to sit down as fast as the shit is coming out of me in hopes that I don't just like sneeze all over the bathroom. And it was successful. Like,
that's impressive.
I sat down to just the most awful just explosion out of my ass. And I was like, I am positive right now I am sitting on a shit-covered seat, but I don't care because I'm getting this out of me.
Exactly.
It's
not
better.
In your pants. It's not in your underwear.
Exactly.
It's where it at least should kind of be.
And that's the thing. So, like, I'm sitting there, and as I'm, like, it looks like Harry from Dumb and Dumber when he's taking a shit in Aspen, right?
He's just hanging on. He's like, oh, no.
His, like, legs are sticking out. It was that situation for me. And so, like, that's happening, and at the same time, I'm like, once I could actually focus on anything other than just the moment of relief, I'm like kind of inspecting my boxer briefs, and I'm like, wow, like
they're rather clean.
I didn't shit myself. And I'm like looking at my pants on the inside and the outside, and I'm like, there's no way. And I kind of like lean and I'm like looking and I'm like, there isn't shit all over the place. I was positive it was going to be there.
So did you get
clean up and nothing? By some miracle, and I think it was the whole technique of like sit down as quickly fast as it's coming out of you. It must like it holds it in this like little shit vessel that's just below you.
Our next race car is gonna be called the shit vessel.
The shit vessel. Perfect, dude. So the relief is inexplainable.
Have you gotten the bidet installed?
I haven't.
Oh,
no.
Okay, because I was gonna say like that's the perfect opportunity for the bidet.
This situation requires a power washer and not a like a nice little gentle stream. That was no joke.
You just crank the pressure. You just crank it up to 11.
Yeah, I mean, there like a gasoline engine increasing the pressure would have been just necessary for this. Yeah,
get a rising rate bidet.
A rising rate pressure regulator. I wonder how like what would. So, I mean, maybe like if you had handles on the sides of the toilet, because here's the thing.
It goes by grip.
Something, yeah, so like you've got to have some sort of a reference, right?
Maybe what it does is it measures the water level, then how quickly it rises.
I like that. I like that. So we need a mass airflow, a mass shit flow sensor somewhere that measures how much is coming out of you, and then it adjusts the amount of blast.
Exactly.
That's perfect.
We got this. We're going to go into the toilet business.
We are, and we're going to use automotive architecture for this because we can use like a mass. Well, you couldn't use a mass airflow sensor because it's air. Yeah. And air goes around the sensor. Shit would just like, I don't know. I mean, it would probably plug it up a little bit. What would work? There's something that's going to work. Volume. There's got to be some kind of volume sensor. You could do a proximity sensor that measures like speed. Speed sensor.
In theory, the water in the toilet is room temperature, correct? And the poo coming out of you is going to be body temperature, which is warmer than water temperature.
Okay.
You could pretty much do a coolant temp sensor on it. It's like, oh shit, we rose above 70 degrees.
Yeah.
We need more pressure.
Shit temp sensor.
Yeah.
Yeah, and there's you could probably do it that way because like a log is not going to heat up the water at the same rate that a chocolate fountain is going to.
Exactly.
So here we are. Problem solving, first world problems.
Entrepreneurs in the making.
We are. We've given people so many goddamn ideas.
We got to write this stuff down.
I know.
And start, filing copyrights.
We really do. What was the last thing that we had come up with? It was the helmet with some sort of beverage in it, wasn't it? It was something. There was man, I don't remember.
I don't remember either.
We'd have to go back on the podcasts.
Speaking of beverage, though, we should probably have a couple.
Oh my god, yes. I gotta drink something that's gonna help me shit.
It's all on your side. It's
what is?
Where'd you put the beer?
Oh, I didn't bring it over.
Oh, I thought you did. I just saw the paper bag. I'm like, okay, cool. It's sitting over there.
No, that's not it. Yeah.
I'll go grab it.
Can you?
Because you got like 4 cables and a tripod to jump over.
Okay.
So try to be funny while I'm gone.
I'm not very good at that. 8:31 in video cut beer
gathering scene.
Okay, neat.
You want to see magic trick?
All right, great.
Oh,
there's beer there.
It's way better than a rabbit.
That is not tea. That is not kombucha. Hui. Hui. All right, so this is Lupulin Brewing Hui India Pale Ale.
Yeah.
Crazy, juicy, hazy, Hui.
Hui.
So it's a really pretty looking can. I like the design a lot.
Yeah, they had this, and then they had another one that was a little bit darker of a beer, but very. Oh, yeah, thank you. But same design, but very more LSD oriented.
Limited slip?
No. There's a lot of bright colors.
Oh, that is.
Is that tasty?
That is hitting the spot.
Well, like the spot that's gonna make you run inside.
No, not that spot. I still don't know what that is, so actually it could be hitting that spot. I don't know. It's whatever leads into that situation.
That's really tasty.
That is an excellent beer. That's like incredibly smooth. It's almost like portage from Ben Paddle.
Yeah.
Like that's really close.
This is like the one we had last week, which was also a hazy, juicy
Oh my
IPA.
God.
These are just good summer beers.
They're fantastic. Yeah, because they aren't overbearing in their IPA-ness. They've got like a really floral, very the juice flavor of
Yep.
it is kind of floral. It's kind of depending on like what the mix is or whatever.
Yeah,
You
like I
get
taste a little bit of mango in this, I think.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. You're getting some kind of a fruit in there. Yeah, that's super good. And I mean, the haze it has like a haze in itself has a unique flavor to it. It's almost like it's not as filtered,
Yeah.
so it tastes really full.
Oh, they also have a recommended glassware on the back of the can.
Really?
Right there. You guys
It's a
probably can't see
recommended
that.
glassware shape. That's funny. I wonder if that has something to do with breathing. I don't know. It's like those wine nuts I always talk about. Like you got to just like let it breathe.
Whatever.
I don't know.
Drink it, taste it, enjoy it.
Don't ladies talk about that too? They got to just like let it breathe. I wonder if they really need to do that because that's like an old wives' tale kind of thing.
Maybe.
Where it's like you got to let it breathe.
I don't know.
I mean,
Like I'm
don't
sorry,
know.
but if it smells that bad that you have to let it breathe,
I don't know. Yeah.
like you should.
Well, it's-
I think you don't. I think you
okay.
need a shower. I don't think you need to let it breathe. You need to drown that fucker in water.
Right. Well, okay. So ladies have a pretty delicate ecosystem down there.
Yes, like
All of it. There's a
Yeah, there's so much
biome.
stuff going
There's
on.
like pH levels. There's bacteria, like good bacteria, bad bacteria. Like there's a crazy world. There's a world going on down there, and it makes you wonder. Then, yeah, I don't remember why we brought this up.
Neither do I.
I just like Vaj came up over the mind. And,
See, and that's the great thing about
Okay.
being a dude is we're simpler because we're just kind of out there, you know.
yeah, if ever you needed a moment to go, like, how simple is Jake? Well, he started talking about vaginas, and he just went blank. I'm pretty. Yeah. Okay. So the other day, I was at the dog park with my
This
silly
is a
young
very
dog.
weird transition, by the way.
Yeah. Okay. So talking about vaginas, right?
Okay.
So I'm at the dog park. No, I'm just kidding.
was
There's no
some-
relationship between these two, besides the fact that my dog is unneutered. He is like 4+ months or something like
So
that.
he's just
old.
humping everything.
He is like the lipstick is coming out all the time. Like he is burying his nose in lady taint, just like wedging his nose in there and running around with a boner. Like it's just like, dude, stick to your species. Like, my God, man. And no, anyway. So I'm at the dog park the other day. Excuse me. And I ran into your parents. So your stepdad and your mom were there.
with their basset hounds.
With their, oh my God, they are,
Did they bring Apollo with?
yes.
Awesome.
So Apollo, we were chuckling because we were talking about how that dog just always looks like it's waking up from a hangover.
Yeah, he looks like he just walked 40 miles through the desert and just can't believe he found water.
Yeah, pretty much. That's a good way of putting it. Yeah. So we got on the topic of your first car incident, and they said,
Hold on, which
"You're
one?
gonna have to tell me a little bit about this. You were 13 and
Oh,
you drove a
no.
car into something.
Yeah. Okay. So,
So you got to tell the viewers about this little snafu.
fine. I hate this story. It's so embarrassing.
Why do you hate it? It's amazing.
It's awful because I overreacted because I was 13.
The reaction is amazing. No, that's-
So a couple of things. I grew up in Topeka, Kansas. We lived just outside the town. In fact, the highway you turned off of was city limits.
It is where happiness goes to die.
That's all of Kansas.
That is the motto of Topeka. That's just
other than
Kansas.
Heartland Park, like two neighborhoods.
That's true. Okay, so Topeka has that way over Duluth because even though like
Yeah.
I think we've got a bigger population, they got a racetrack and we've
They
got
have a very badass racetrack.
a lot of hippies.
Yeah, but we don't have the crime rate. Anyways, yeah. So my very first car I owned was a '89 Grand Prix or '90 Grand Prix. SE bucket seats in the back of the front, cardinal red interior, gray. Shitbox.
Oh, dude. So I got to interrupt you for a second. What is with manufacturers and doing colored interiors?
I don't know, but it's the same color as this Mustang seat.
Exactly.
Right there.
Why did all these manufacturers decide to make interiors these obnoxious, the blues and GMs?
Well, in the 80s and the late 90s, there were a lot of, drugs and stuff. So maybe it's to hide blood.
Well, they've been doing it forever. I mean, I feel like a lot of the old cars even had weird
Well, yeah, even like
colored
the 65
interiors.
Mustangs had red interior.
Yeah.
Why?
Gross.
Yeah.
Like, I can understand white, which is, I mean, that there's a specific person who can handle having that.
I can't do that. I like tan only on green cars.
Yeah, that doesn't look too bad, but it's got to be the right tone of tan.
Yeah.
I think khaki looks really good. When it starts getting closer to that brownish hue, that's when it's like, I don't know.
It depends on the car. And it depends on the interior.
You know what? And actually, I take that back because I've seen a couple of brown leather interiors before that look amazing. So I think it has more to do with just like the color palette.
Yep. Yeah, it all has to do with the exterior, features of the interior, all that fun jazz. Obviously, the BMW tan would look like garbage, but
Yeah.
on
It's terrible.
a Bugatti, tan, that same color tan could probably look really badass. Then again, it's a Bugatti, so like you could do shit green.
And then we're
it
also
look
talking
good.
about different seat shapes and all that kind of stuff. So,
Exactly.
it probably is a fit and finish effect on it
There's
so,
a big picture, lots of ins, lots of outs.
yeah, sure.
And
So, okay, you had this 90s, 80s,
but it was an 89
89 Grand Prix
SE.
SE 5-speed
No.
auto.
Had the pull down exterior door handles that were made out of aluminum. So of course the driver's side was busted. And it had another issue with the shifter. It didn't want to go in. It was like stuck in neutral, or didn't want to go in and out of gears correctly. Anyways, first car, 13. I fixed that. I fixed the door handle and the shifter by myself, which I was proud as hell
At
about.
13, that's
I was
really
like,
good.
My dad bought the part, and my dad, who probably won't watch this, just I don't know if he didn't. I was young enough. I don't know if he didn't get around to it or just a POS or whatever. Never fixed it, so I'm like, I'm gonna do this. I want to fix my car, so I fixed it, and I did what everybody does after they fix it. I took it for a spin.
Except you were 13.
Yeah. And I have a bad habit of this. You'll catch a theme as the more you listen to our podcast. If somebody tells me not to do something, I'm probably going to do it.
Yeah, it's kind of hard. You got to really fight that impulse.
And
Yeah.
my mom, my stepdad, and my dad, all of them are like, no, don't drive the car. You cannot drive the car. There's no insurance on it. You're 13.
Well, and another important thing to note is your location. You weren't in Topeka at the time.
We were just on the outside of Topeka. We wanted
Which
to see
is
like
rural.
cul-de-sac. It's a dead end. There's like 4 cul-de-sacs, one way in, one way out. Bunch of older people, a couple of families, but a bunch of people retired.
Yeah, exactly. So
It's rather safe area.
the chances of you killing somebody who hasn't already lived a full life is pretty low.
Exactly. I'm more likely to hit an animal than I am a person.
Okay, perfect.
So hop in it. Like, sweet, this is awesome. I go to the end of the cul-de-sac, which is about a block and a half, if you were to flatten it out, and back. Now, it's on the way back. Now, if I was a legal driver at the time with a license and all that fun jazz, I was not in the wrong. I just want to say this other person was. They were driving down the middle of the road. And to avoid hitting them, because I figured, hey, I don't have a license. If I hit them, this is going to be really, really bad.
Ooh.
I clipped a mailbox.
This is really interesting because this is not details that your folks shared. They
Yeah.
just basically said Donnie hit a mailbox when he basically stole the car.
That fucker. Okay, yeah. First off, it wasn't just because it wasn't licensed in my name doesn't mean I
Yeah.
stole the car.
Right.
Still my
Well,
car.
I mean, okay, was that your car? So that you
Yeah,
had a
that was
car
my
at
first
13.
car.
Yeah.
So Kansas, you could drive at 14. You get your learner's permit. No, you get your farmer's permit at 14. Your learner's at 15, and then 16 your normal license. So you can slowly work your way up.
Yeah,
which is
that
why
makes
I had
sense.
it. Anyways, yeah, dipshit's driving down the middle of the road. I decided not to hit them. And when I say clip a mailbox, I didn't even do damage to it. The mirror went like right under the lip of the mailbox and gouged my mirror.
That's it, though, right?
That was it. At least
Yeah, so it wasn't significant damage.
after I evaluated the situation, that's all that was. But I'm like, holy shit, like I almost got in an accident. I just took out somebody's mailbox. Like I'm freaking the fuck out.
Okay, so this vehicle that was in the middle of the road, okay, did they stop?
No.
Okay, so they didn't even really notice what happened.
Yeah.
I'm guessing.
I'm
Okay.
just 13, inexperienced driver, freaking the fuck
Because could you imagine now? Okay, so I'm 37 years old. 20-year-olds look like children to me. I can't imagine watching a 13-year-old step out of a vehicle after running into a mailbox.
Yeah,
that would blow my mind.
Even at the age of 25, I looked 16, so...
Yeah. I was 12 the first time that I drove a vehicle. I was driving it was a 1970 Chevy K10, the four-wheel drive version of the C10, right? Yeah, and like my dad taught me how to do it. Like I actually could. It was a 3-speed with overdrive, 350.
Nice.
So very typical. I think it was like a Gen 2, Gen 1. I think it was like
Okay.
Gen 1 engine. I can't remember which version. So just like the 350 that everybody was familiar with back then, right?
Those are solid
Great
as hell.
motor. If it has a manual transmission attached to it, you can basically just like let out the clutch slowly and it'll just go. You give it like blip of throttle and it just goes on its way.
Just enough to make it happy.
So it is the perfect vehicle to start out on. So that was my opportunity. And then when I was 13, my parents had this shitty like Cutlass Calais station wagon, and that's what I used to hoon around in because I lived out in the Tules. Like I was a mile from the highway. That was like, I say 12 miles away from a tiny town. Like I was in a township, and then I was probably like 25 miles from an actual city, and then about 60 to 70 miles from Duluth. So if that'll give you an idea that this is truly in the middle of buttfuck nowhere.
Yeah, no one's coming there unless you like burn down half the woods.
Exactly. And there was all like we were basically living down a road that was just had a bunch of cabins on it. So I got into a lot of trouble out there with all the vehicles that we owned over the years. Yeah, and I was driving at 13, like
we
sliding
didn't have
cars
that much
around.
space. We had, I think, like half an acre. So like you big yards, yeah, but there's still people.
Right.
And you'd have to go another 5-ish miles to kind of how you were saying of like, there's no one close by.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, it's kind of funny, and I'd be curious if like there's a theme to that of like, are car enthusiasts, is there a higher percentage that have driven well before the legal age?
Yeah.
And I would guess,
I would assume so.
Like we probably were born with an affinity for cars and drove as soon as we possibly could.
Yeah. So to continue the story, because there's
I'm sorry, yeah.
There's unfortunately more to it. I get back. I don't know how much they told you.
That's the extent of it.
Oh yeah, there's more.
Oh wait, no. Yeah. Okay. I did hear a little bit. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Okay. So I get back, freaking the fuck out because I'm 13 and think like, oh my god, I just did some property damage and like, car's fucked up and all this. Just all the irrational thinking I could possibly do because 13, you don't think rational.
Well, yeah,
I mean, I took the car out for that's not a rational thought. So I'm losing my goddamn mind. What were they? I think it was like animal control came out to the neighborhood and then, pickup truck with cages in the back of it. And I'm like, holy shit. Like I'm going to get in some serious fucking trouble. Like they sent somebody with a cage out here to come get me.
Like they're going to, like the jail came to you.
Yeah.
You fucked up so bad.
Like they're going to make an example that nobody under the age of 16 will even look at a car.
They're going to throw you in this cage and drive up and down the town.
Then drop you in the lake with a brick in the back of it.
Jesus Christ.
Just terrified. So I call my stepdad, who to this day I still call him for legal advice and everything. That hasn't gone away. And he's telling me to come down and stop overreacting. And I ask him like, do cops drive around in trucks with cages on the back? And he just I couldn't see his face obviously because I was calling him, but I could just imagine, and he was probably like, "You fucking idiot!"
Oh my god, he probably laughed so hard.
Yeah, he's like, "No, that's animal control. You're fine."
he and your mother, like, they tell this story with such a glint in their eye and so much levity in their voices. Like, you can tell that they have just been feasting off of this story for
constantly
ages, for decades. They're just like, oh, like, this is so fucking funny.
So
you know?
luckily, my stepdad's sister at the time was an active police officer. She was actually a detective. She investigated computer crimes for the state of Kansas.
Computer crimes?
No, like, I think she worked with the FBI on a couple of cases and stuff too. Like, great detective.
Computer crimes.
Computer crimes.
I'm pretty sure
before
the internet?
No.
What were
17 years ago.
Oh, Jesus. God, you're young. 2003. Yeah, so the internet was well established.
Exactly.
That's so funny. God damn. So, I mean, when we talk about 13 for me, that was 1996. So the internet was
before Etch-a-Sketch or after?
Barely a thing. Yeah, it was like light bright.
Yeah, so...
what did the internet come out in 95? You wouldn't know.
Maybe, yeah. But
Netscape 2.0.
Luckily, my stepdad didn't have the idea to call her to come out and scare me until like after everything happened.
God, that's so funny.
Because I would just would have shit because I didn't really know her at the time. I wouldn't have put two and two together and just be like, holy shit, there's a cop on my doorstep. Like, I'm so fucked.
Dude, that is precisely what he said too. He's like, oh, I had this cop in the family, and if I would have had the presence of mind, I would have called her out and really scared the shit out of him. It's so funny that the both of you tell this story the same way. That's awesome.
So that was my first ever like single by yourself driving experience ever in my life was that, and it was so horrible. And now I've gotten countless tickets.
Right. That's so funny because so you had a very early first incident with accident. It wasn't with cops, but your first accident situation.
And I look back at it now, like I said, the mirror got gouged, and other than that, the mailbox didn't get knocked over. There's no other damage to the car.
That's pretty
there's
small.
Nothing. It was simply me being like, "Oh shit, I heard a noise on a mailbox." Like, if I could go back to 13-year-old me, I'd just be like, "Just shut the fuck up and go inside." Like, it's fine.
Much.
Nothing's fucked, dude.
You gouged a mirror that's tiny.
Yeah, you're acting very undude.
You didn't
chill.
you didn't run into somebody's living room with the car.
You didn't hit the mailbox. You grazed it. You nicked it.
Yeah, pretty much. That's kind of funny. So originally I thought like, I don't have any stories like that, and I don't have any like nearly that good. About all I've got is I've got memories because again, like I lived out in the middle of nowhere, and we were a mile from the highway, so we had a really really long driveway, and we also had a couple other roads that were out there. We had a development that was being put together, so it was literally brand new gravel roads, nice and wide. And so here I am, a dumbass 13-year-old, 14 probably at the time. I'm out there driving around in this Oldsmobile station wagon. And because it's a station wagon, anybody who's, even if it's front wheel drive,
you always kick the ass
super long. It's really easy to pitch around. And I remember, so I would do that. I would get the thing and I'd flick it, and I don't know. Nobody showed me how to do it, but I just kind of figured it out because I think I'd take corners really fast. Flick? Yeah, I'd take corners really fast, and you'd be like, oh, the rear end kind of like moves on you or whatever, and so I'd try and induce that, right? And I remember this one where it was like a Y in the road, and it's going uphill. And so there's a road here and a road here, and they come together, and then they kind of snake off like this. So they merge. And I'm coming this way, so I'm going to try and take this swooping corner here. And then there's a big hill right here. So you've got the Y, and on this side of the Y, you've got, okay, you guys, like, you're going to really get this from my example. It goes like that, right? And then right here is the big hill. Okay, so is that picture perfect? All right.
I'm confused.
Yeah, and anybody who's just listening and not looking at the video, I apologize.
Some poor sap on Spotify is like, I don't fucking get this.
Yeah, so basically with the way that I'm driving, if I'm pitching the corner correctly on my passenger side, there is a significantly elevated hill immediately off of the road, right? So I'm coming around this corner, and I do the thing, and I get it going sideways, and I'm way too fucking hot. And as I'm going sideways, the bead rolls on one of the back tires. And I slide into this hill, digging myself in. But the one situation where front wheel drive was advantageous is because this hill is so much like touching the road, basically. It's not like you've got a big runoff section or something like that, like a highway does before, like the hills or the trees or whatever. The hill is basically one of the perimeters of the road. So when I hit the thing, the front end of the car was still kind of on the road. So I was able to drive. And
That's awesome.
I drove, oh my God, my poor parents. I drove all the way back to my house with a tire that was off of the bead. And knowing now what that does to a tire,
Yeah, you're
I
like,
probably
you just
cost my parents like $100 right there.
Oh,
Just
yeah.
killed that tire.
Because you're jacking off in the.
Yeah, just because I'm being a dumbass. And, of course they're asking, like, how the fuck did you do this? Or like, what happened? And I was like, well, I don't know. I was just driving out
like,
on the.
There's a dog that ran out, and I slammed on the brakes. And
I mean, I'm sure I told them that I was out in the development, but all you've got in this—that's what that section of it was. They called it the development because they were building all of these little places where you could build a cabin. So they were sort of sectioning it all off, and they're developing the roads and all that kind of stuff. That little bit of
which is just
infrastructure,
a teenager's playground. That's
which
all
is
that-
exactly
that's
what
all
it
that
was.
is.
Like there were so many cabins that were getting built that I would just break into and just go wander around because
So-
they were in construction. So
I know people give Fast and the Furious movies a ton of shit.
Yeah.
But Tokyo Drift, when the quote unquote teenagers, I use that term loosely because they're all like 30-year-olds, but they're playing teenagers when they go out to the development and street race. Like that's what teenagers would totally do. Maybe not to that extent, but they would go fuck around in construction areas.
oh, for
like
sure,
100%.
It wouldn't be this situation where it's like the popular kids. And
No. There's no
big-
Viper and shit like that. No.
Yeah, no, there's nothing like that. There was probably a bunch of Honda Civics.
Yes.
Or-
and maybe some drugs.
One idiot with a Fox body.
Yep.
And they would watch the dude with the Fox body try and drift a corner.
Exactly. As they probably smoke pot or cigarettes or have a beer or
And
two.
one of those Honda guys, they'd rip that e-brake.
Bounce it off a curb.
Exactly. They roll the bead. Yeah, and that's exactly what the high school experience is like for me too. It was mostly like me with my Grand Am. That was my car that I got at 15. It was a Grand Am with a Tech 4, so it was a 2.5 liter 4-cylinder. So it was actually a pretty torquey little 4-cylinder. Me trying to burn off every bit of tire on those things.
So that Grand Prix was such a pile of shit. I never got to drive it again in Kansas. We towed it up here when my stepdad, my mom, and my sister moved up here. Had a couple little other things I ended up fixing up on it. I drove it, I think, for maybe a month. And then my girlfriend at the time lived just up in Proctor. And we were going to a school dance. And I'm like, okay, cool. I'll go pick her up. First time meeting her parents, by the way. I pull up in front of the house. And there's a crack in the block, and I spit all of the coolant out onto the road right in front of their house.
Wait. Okay, back to this.
And that thing is done.
Okay, so blocks don't just crack.
First I was
So what did you do? Was there frozen water inside of the block?
And my guess is that because it sat for so long.
Okay, so it came from Topeka, where you guys generally don't have freezing weather.
Brought it up here where we do have freezing weather.
Okay.
It sat until early spring-ish. And then,
no.
pull it up. I'm here to pick up your daughter.
Pink. And all of a sudden there's just pouring hot water out of it.
Yes.
Oh my God. Jesus, dude.
So that went to the scrapyard.
Yeah. Oh man, it's just like how many cars do you destroy in high school before you know anything about them?
I went through
A lot.
3 cars in my
Yeah.
4 years of high school.
I went through. Well, I went through 3, but I drove 4. So I had a 89 or 88 Grand Am. That was the 5-speed
Yeah.
with the 4-cylinder. Then after that, I had an Oldsmobile Regency 98, which is the fancy the Delta 88.
Yeah,
right?
it's an old person's car.
So it's Oh, dude, this thing was so badass. So it was, and I wish I could find one again because honestly, I would love to drive one. So, okay, what was funny about this car is it was a Delta 88 that was just like pimped out in the interior. So the whole dash was all like digital. So, 80s GM digital dash, but it all worked perfectly,
Which is rare.
which is super cool. It had like I want to say that the heater controls were all digital, so it read the temperature in the car and did all those things.
That's pretty sweet.
It had electric seats, and it had an electric bench seat in the front, which was amazing. So, I mean, this car was. It was just perfect for a horny teenager.
Oh,
We'll just
yeah.
put it that way. Like,
oh, yeah.
I put a
here,
big old
baby, let's make some more room.
yeah, dude. And it was literally a bed in the front and the back. And so we, I put a big stupid stereo in it, which wasn't that big, but the car shook a little bit. So it was cool. I'd like drive around and I'd listen to, Master P and
Run DMC.
No, it wasn't. See, okay. I mean, by the time I was driving, it was like the late 90s, right?
Okay, so more Hanson and Spice Girls then.
It was kind of that era. I think at the time I was listening. I'm not even joking. A lot of Nickelback, and this was just after. Curb, was that the album?
They're okay. Time out. So I know Nickelback gets a ton of shit, which they totally deserve because they're
the last like 3 albums they deserve it for.
Their like first album, 2 albums actually aren't that bad. They got popular and then they just tanked.
Okay, so I don't have their discography memorized by any stretch,
but
they had
tattoos or anything.
They had. I got Chad Kroeger on my calf.
Speaking of which, if they ever do a documentary film on Nickelback, Dax McCarty needs to play Chad Kroeger.
Oh, he does. Dude.
Totally.
Yeah. I love Dax. Also a car guy. He's got a like 700 horsepower Roadmaster, if I remember correctly, or Caprice wagon.
Oh, there was a hit and run. Didn't he do most of the driving stunts on that?
Yes, like all of them.
Yeah, I've only seen it once. I liked it.
Yeah, he's good
watch
shit.
it again.
He's really good shit.
Anyways, Nickelback.
He also has like basically the most popular podcast ever. Or him or Rogan or something like that.
So
he's
Dax,
up there.
if you're watching this and you want to like help a brother out or something,
yeah, have us on. We'd love to talk cars with you.
We'll bring you a beer.
Also, like, kudos to that gorgeous wife of his. I can't remember her name, but she's lovely.
Yeah, she's
Saving Sarah Marshall something.
Yeah, I think
Sarah
she was in
Marshall,
Couples Retreat
like
as
that.
well.
Yeah, she's a fox. Anyways, what the fuck were we talking about? Nickelback. So
for some reason.
Leader of Men, I think, is like the really popular song from their second album. Look up their second album. It is a like black and yellow goldish colored cover. That album will surprise the hell out of you because you'll be like, well, wait a minute. Like, this is really good. Like, it's really good rock with like a little bit of a southern touch to it.
Yeah. Is that the album that has Animals on it? Because I know that's off of one of their earlier albums.
Oh goodness. Okay, so we're gonna play a little game here, but you tell me that about your Nickelback.
So Animals is I can't believe I have a favorite Nickelback song. I can't believe I'm admitting I have a favorite Nickelback song, but it's definitely Animals because the whole song is about getting laid in your car and having her dad catch you guys mid-act and trying to get away from him and shit.
Jesus, dude.
It's filthy. It's a stupid, filthy song, and it's got a good tempo to it. It's got a good hard rock sound to it. It's kind of catchy. Yeah, and it's just about being a horny teenager, essentially.
Oh, here it is. It's called The State. Okay. So
the one with the road I actually owned back in the day.
God, I hate Bing so much. Okay. So go on.
Oh, I'm just saying, I was looking at the album covers. The one with the highway or the road or whatever, I think I actually owned way back in the day.
Yeah. All right. So, oh man, God. Okay. Here we go. Now I'm going to try and pull it up on the thinger-dinger here.
Oh, yeah. I always forget we have the ability to do that.
All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, here we go. So this is the album. It's called the state. Excellent, right? So Leader of Men, yep, I was actually right. Okay, Leader of Men is like their hit. This is what put them on the map back in like the 90s. This is, oh God, was it? No, 2000. Okay, so in the year 2000, this one came out. This album is actually super good. Surprised the hell out of me. Like, well, I shouldn't say surprised me, because it came out and it was just like, oh, cool, this is another band. So I'm listening to Korn, System of a Down, Union Underground, Coal Chamber. So like I'm listening to a lot of like metal bands and stuff like that. And this one came out. It was on I think it was called The Bear, or it was like 1025 or something. It might not even have like a silly moniker. I think that might have been before that. It was such a good radio station. It was like it would play all of these heavy things. It didn't have a corporate overlord where it was like you have to play all this crap. And it literally
that's what's such about modern radio.
It had a locals section on it, and I can't remember if it was once or twice a week. They would have, for like a straight hour, they would play local acts. So literally Minnesota-based heavy metal bands, rock and metal bands.
So what you're saying is
it was fucking awesome.
We need to start a radio station.
Dude, I would do pirate radio in a fucking heartbeat.
Sign me up for it.
That would be amazing. Anyway, so like this album came out and it's actually surprisingly good. So it's so funny to me because Nickelback gets so much shit because what the hell happened to these guys?
Well,
because they rolled out like, oh my God, what was the other album?
They had a handful of decent albums back in the day, and then they just got popular, and they're like, oh, well, wait a second. We can sell even more albums, though. Oh, we just kiss a little corporate ass and just play more radio-friendly shit.
God, so if you look at it, and they've got so many other albums. I'll just move us over to the side here. I stopped paying attention after Silver Side Up. So I liked Silver Side Up.
What's funny is I'm pretty sure you and I stopped at about the same time.
Yeah, so this album was surprisingly, like, this was okay.
No. I think that actually might be the one. I think that's the one that started, like, I think when Silver Side came up, that's about the time Creed kind of came into it.
Okay, so How You Remind Me.
Yeah.
That song was so good. It's a really good rock song, right?
It is.
Solid album. I think the one after this is when they just went to shit.
Yeah, they just started...
Something changed. They got like super radio-y, and like the lyrics got even worse.
They got cheesier.
They were never awesome.
But they're still kind of the funny thing about Nickelback is if you still listen to the lyrics of some of their newer albums after this one, they're still kind of filthy. Like they're like, we're selling out, but we're gonna just slide in like a sex comment somewhere mid song just because we can.
Yeah, I know. It's weird. It's weird stuff.
Speaking of weird stuff, I see you're on Facebook right now.
Yeah. All right.
You were on Facebook.
I mean, so yeah. Don't worry about what's going on the screen.
I'm so used to trying to make sure that the audio is working that it's just a habit of like.
Don't worry about it. Just let me worry about what's going on the screen because it's clearly like distracting you. All right, so you want to do Marketplace? You want to talk a little something about
unless you have more love for Nickelback, you want to get out there.
Not necessarily, but I will tell you, dude. Like that is one of those bands. So there's two bands that come to mind when we talk about bands that like started off really strong and just went a weird direction.
Can I take a guess with band number 2?
Go for it.
Weezer.
Nope. No, but that's actually a really good example because I grew up in the era of Buddy Holly, like that, and I'm not talking like literally Buddy Holly.
The sweater song,
Buddy Holly. Yep. That album is so freaking good.
Even Island in the Sun is a really good song,
dude. So like I loved Radiohead, and like Weezer was such a good, like they both were just such good college slacker rock kind of bands. Oh, fucking loved them. Definitely Weezer had some like really sellout-y kind of albums for a little bit there.
I could see that.
They still kind of do.
They try to bounce back.
The other one I'm going to tell you about is Buck Cherry. Oh. So if you've ever listened to Buck Cherry's first album,
what's their one really really big hit?
Oh God.
Oh fuck! I get Buck Cherry mixed up with Hinder.
Well, I mean, they had some trash songs that wasn't terribly different. Okay, so Buck Cherry, they had their first album. Try and pull up the discography here for you guys. Okay, so 1999.
I didn't realize they went back that far. To be completely honest.
Okay, so flippity flip.
Hey.
Here we go. So 1999, Buck Cherry's this album comes out. It is okay, so just studio album. So this is like a self-titled kind of thing. This album is so fucking good. This is the one with I think cocaine on it. The song about cocaine, like lit up or whatever.
Okay. I think I know what you're talking about.
Give this album a chance. Like, it will surprise the hell out of you. It is so good. This is such a good album. And then they had, what is that really? God, I cannot think of the name of it. Lit Up is the I think the one about cocaine that everybody's so familiar with. From
I would
this
have to
first
hear. I
album.
have a feeling this is one of those albums that you played a couple of songs. I would totally recognize it.
Yeah, God, what is that for that?
So you gotta remember, this came out in what, 99? You said?
Yeah, this is 1999.
I didn't
They
get
were
into
even
music
at,
until like 2002.
They
So
were
this
at
is-
Woodstock 99, and I'm not even kidding you.
Really?
I remember watching that. So I was at a buddy's house, and we bought the pay-per-view. So we pay-per-viewed, and it was like 60 some bucks, and this was back in the 90s. So that's the
That's a
equivalent
good-
of like 150, 200 bucks
Yeah,
a
that's a
day. And
good amount of money.
we spent the entire weekend getting stoned and watching. So we spent the whole weekend on the couch. 'Cause
Watching music.
It was a live feed the whole weekend because it was like Friday or
Fucking
Thursday
nuts.
night.
Well, you definitely got
until
your
Sunday.
money's worth out of it.
It was awesome. So it was like direct TV and they had the whole thing or whatever. And yeah, we watched the entire thing all the way down to when people were literally burning shit. They were burning all the, I don't remember exactly what it was. And I'm trying to think of like, was it 9 Inch Nails or was it Korn? I can't remember. During one of the main acts, maybe Limp Bizkit, they literally started tearing down shit and massive fires. They're burning tons of shit.
Damn.
It was insane. But so I spent the entire weekend just like party hardy,
Also
getting
burning
high
stuff
and
up
drinking.
and-
Yes, very much. And yeah, just like vegging out to this. It was such an amazing experience for like literally sitting on the couch for an entire weekend.
Yeah, at 9, I couldn't do any of that stuff.
God, that just ages me. Yeah. So anyway, Buck Cherry is another one of those bands that I can't remember the name of the album, but they had another one like here recently that was just absolutely terrible.
Yeah, and it's so hit and miss. Like there are some bands that change for the better. There are some bands that get a lot of shit when they shouldn't. Like Linkin Park, as some of you might know, that is like probably my favorite band easily. They get a lot of shit. A lot of people say they sold out after their second album. But if you listen to the songs, they actually have a lot of really good albums after that, after their second album. And people are like, oh, they sold out. It's like, no, they just decided they didn't want to play the same genre every fucking time.
Right.
But then you get bands like, I'm going to say Avenged Sevenfold. Their early stuff is super heavy. They have a couple of good songs here and there through some of their newer stuff, but it's like, I don't know what you guys did, but
Yeah.
it's just not good.
So okay, I used to listen to Avenged Sevenfold quite a bit. Yeah, and I actually I think I stopped listening to them like at the right time.
They
'Cause I don't know. They had that one that was talking about like having sex with corpses, which I fucking loved. It was such a
Yeah.
good song.
No, there's nothing wrong with that.
But the albums afterwards, I just like didn't pay
But, like,
attention to. So I must have missed it.
so Slipknot released a new album 2 years ago?
Something
I
like
think
that?
that's about
Yeah,
2 years ago.
I'm not positive
And a
on the
bunch of people
timeline.
gave them shit like, oh, it's just not as heavy as Iowa and all that. And it's like, well, yeah.
Well, God,
Let's see here. They don't live in Iowa anymore. They have money.
they're not as pissed off.
Yeah, they're not as angry. Like, what are they gonna be pissed off about? Like, fuck, I gotta take the Mercedes today to the studio.
Dude.
God, I'm just angry about this.
Corey Taylor's doing like country albums
Yeah,
now. Like life's pretty good.
Corey Taylor's at the point in his life where he's like, I'm just gonna do whatever the fuck I want.
Yeah, he is.
Speaking of which,
Of Corey Taylor.
it's all music related. Howard Jones, which is my current favorite living vocalist, he was on a podcast, and they only have like a minute and a half segment of it. He does a phenomenal version of Simple Man.
Oh, no shit. Okay.
And
I can see that. He's got a hell of a voice.
He's got that soulful voice to him, and it's like bone-shakingly good. It's
really
stupid good how
cool.
well he sings that
We're gonna have
song.
to look that up.
So Corey Taylor also does a really good cover of Wicked Game.
Wicked Games?
Yeah.
Dude.
It's a fantastic cover he does.
Chris Isaac I don't think he realized that he wrote like one of the most covered songs ever, besides like Love Song or.
But I mean, him does a fantastic cover of it too.
Their cover is so fucking good, and I could go on such a tangent about him. That's a band that takes me back. I have seen them so many times live. But we needed to get into the marketplace ads.
Otherwise, we're gonna have an entire podcast.
Tell me
about
a little something
accidents.
about Tyrese's car here.
Yeah, so that's actually exactly why I picked this. This popped up on my marketplace, and I instantly thought of Fast and the Furious.
Oh, for sure,
like 100%. Now this thing,
how do you not?
Apparently, it's quote unquote built, bigger turbo, all that fun stuff, but it's got the early 2000s body kit. And then, if you flip through it, if I remember correctly, the gauge pillar or gauges on the A pillar are in a gauge pod that are blue, which make no sense because the car's silver.
Okay.
With no blue interior, but it's one of those things. Like I think somebody tried, and then
What's going on with the math here?
yeah, it's zip tied into place.
Okay, that's always a good sign.
So it just screamed.
Oh. So, okay, it's a 420A, so it's a Dodge Neon motor.
Yeah. It just screamed early 2000s.
Oh, yeah, look at that.
Yeah, I was just
look
like,
at that.
Somebody got stoned, watched Fast and the Furious, said, I'm going to build a fucking car.
I don't even think they got stoned. I just think they nerded out like a preteen would. Dude, look at that. They spray painted their gauge pillar and everything. I don't know. I like it. I dig it, dude. This is
I dig what it was aiming to be.
I mean, look at the paint job on the hood.
Finished.
This is really, really good. Okay, so
I just wish it was a finished product.
I got to break something down here. Okay, so we're far enough out of the body kit world. Well, the Fast and the Furious body kit world, because let's be real, all the guys that used to talk shit about like Hondas being a bunch of fucking ricers are now a bunch of Nissan guys who are slapping fucking body kits on every single 240.
And what's funny too is it's
Like,
kind of
rice?
people are like, oh, it's so race. Look at that big body kit, and then they're like, yeah, but look at that Rocket Bunny wide body.
Exactly.
Well, what the fuck then?
I drive my giant diesel pickup that I've got 14 fucking light bars on, but you're such a ricer for having underglows. But don't talk shit about my rock lights, which are literally underglows.
I have 16-inch wheels that stick out 5 inches past my fenders on my lifted truck.
Yeah,
Like,
no,
okay, buddy.
I've got fucking 22 by 12 wheels with a negative 85 offset.
Just drive off in your brodozer, right?
Yeah, exactly. So, so if you look at this thing, like, look at the hood. Like, that's somebody masked this really nice.
Yeah,
and it looks like it's a carbon fiber hood that was painted. So, like
I
at
said,
one point when this wasn't sun faded, this probably looked really awesome.
This was either somebody who had the attention or had the ambition to make a really awesome car and just fell a little short, or at one point in time it was an awesome car and now it's just been passed around 1,000 times and it's slowly deteriorating.
Yeah, okay, so we got bigger turbo, but it's was it a 420A? Maybe it's not. Let's get to the engine. We might be, yeah, I think we might be looking at a 4G actually. Yeah.
I'm pretty sure that's a 4G.
Yep, okay. That is a 4G. I thought it was a 420A at first. I was like, oh.
No shit, this will decimate all
turboed
after you dump like 10 grand into it.
Yeah, that's cool. So you must have put like an Evo 3 16G or a big 16 or something like that on it.
That would be my guess.
Because it looks fairly stock. You still got the
the stock manifold and everything to
and stuff
it.
like that. Yeah. Yeah, that's pretty cool.
So
I don't hate it.
I didn't know. I came across it, and at first I hated it. I looked at it a little bit more. I kind of liked it, and I don't know. It's one of
Right.
those for $3,000. If I could score it for 2,500, I'd totally buy it and then dump more than I should into it to finish it.
Oh, wait a minute. Is this an auto?
That I don't remember.
No, it's a manual. Okay, so we're looking at a $3,000, 118,000 mile, which I find a little hard
I
to
bet you
believe.
that's wrong.
Yeah, that's probably the chassis.
Yeah,
This
maybe.
is probably a 8 or a, what is this, 7 bolt? Is probably a 7 bolt that popped at some point. GST is the front wheel drive turbo
Yes.
version, so that could be part of the pricing. For how clean it is, honestly, I feel like that's kind of a good price.
I don't think it's too bad.
It's really not bad. I would drive it. I'd feel a little ricey. I'd feel a little self-conscious, but I'd drive it.
I would have my Ludacris and DMX cranked all the way up everywhere I went.
Yeah, dude.
And
Rest in peace, DMX.
Yeah, pour one out for your homies.
Yeah, Rough Riders.
I mean, and it's a soft top, so you got to roll it down and bark at people as you go by. But
Well, you do that anyways because you're driving in Eclipse.
oh yeah,
Yeah, man.
so
That's pretty cool. I
didn't
think
know
that's a
how
good
to-
find.
I just came about. I didn't know how to feel about it. I still don't know how to feel about it. If I had the money, I'd probably try to save it
You think so?
and finish it.
Yeah,
Like I
yeah.
said, I think it could be restored to what it was.
Well, okay, so it's a front wheel drive though.
Yeah,
Do you want to
but
do all that work on a front wheel drive
we have a Civic.
that we're going to sell?
Doesn't mean I can't sell that.
Yeah, that's fair enough. So you can do all-wheel drive swaps on these.
Yeah, because isn't the tunnel still there and everything?
I
They
want to
just-
say the tunnel's all the same. You just swap out like the trailing arms, I'm guessing, because obviously you
stupid
need a way
simple.
to like, the hubs aren't just gonna like fit into the normal trailing arms.
Yeah.
I have to assume that they need the
But
splines and everything
what's
like
a
that.
parts car, all-wheel drive Eclipse?
You mean the millions of them that are in scrap yards because they all
so
blow
what,
up?
$500 maybe.
This is totally feasible to do the swap, and I know like 3 different people that have done it and could for sure guide you.
So you're in it for
just
under $4,000 with including the purchase of this to have a pretty decently fun
I
car.
promise you, it is twice that.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, to build it and have it not be a hoopty.
Yeah.
Yeah, like
That's
you
fair
can
enough.
make it relatively stock, but dude, like DSMs, they want your pocketbook.
Really?
For sure. Yeah, okay, so let me back this up.
I've never owned a DSM.
DSMs there is no 4-cylinder. They're literally like some of the fastest 4-cylinders on the planet. They are like the original, like crank up the boost controller and they just tolerate it. And that's why so many of them blow up because people just like beat the shit out of them. There's so many like 19 and a half year olds that put a fucking Holman boost controller on it and just crank it to 30.
I know some twins that were like that.
Yeah. And like then they all explode and then everybody goes like, "Bro, these things are pieces of shit." When it's like, okay, if you did that to a Honda Civic, even though the Honda Civic's the most reliable car on the fucking planet,
still probably
they
blow
would
up too.
blow up too. Same with
Yeah,
a
no
fucking Camry
shit.
motor, whatever. They're gonna pop because you can't abuse them that way without correcting things in the fuel maps and timing and all that kind of shit. The multitude of things you got to do
Yeah.
to try and make something reliable. But these cars just kind of have a way with things. They like to blow out dipstick tubes, the dipstick out of the dipstick tube. They just have like crank walk issues, which has more to do with people launching it like a dumbass. But it's just like there are a lot of little things that you want to look over on them, just like a turbo Subaru. So like a turbo Subaru, you kind of need to upgrade things, and they tend to be expensive for the quality stuff.
I could see that. Okay.
So-
that makes sense then.
Best practice is buying quality shit and putting it on there.
Or buying a Honda.
So I think to manual swap this thing because you probably aren't going to use ripped axle boot shit, and you're not going to use like bad U-joint drive shaft, and
True.
the rear end is full of rust or what. Like the likelihood of you finding a perfect swappable series of parts without bad bushings and shocks and all that kind of stuff, more than likely you're going to have to clean up a lot of that stuff as well. So I just think that what you're doing is, you're buying a $3,000 car, but if you're all-wheel drive swapping it, you're probably going to want to upgrade a ton of shit around it and do it the right way.
Fair enough.
Yeah. So I think that it's probably a $5,000 $5,500 when all is said and done to make it all-wheel drive.
I still don't know if that's that bad.
No, that's not bad at all.
Yeah.
So when these things are really, really well sorted out, yeah, you're looking at close to 10 Gs, sometimes over that, for like the really beautifully well done ones. Yeah. So I think it's cool.
So
I think it's super cool.
What did you find then?
Okay, so all I have this week is an update on last week's marketplace ad. So
Oh yeah, the duck boat.
the duck boat. You remember how we went on a tangent? We went on like a 10-minute tangent about who the fuck is going to buy this thing?
Yeah, like-
it's sold in a week. It sold in like 4 days. 4 freaking days after
Apparently
we
we
looked
don't
at
know
it.
shit about duck boats.
Because
I think I said I would pay like 15
What?
if I could.
Yeah, like I don't even know what I would have paid for it. $500? I don't know. It's sold. It was listed for 35 grand. It's sold in a couple. Listed a week ago.
He probably took 32 for it or something dumb. He
The
probably got close
crazy
to
thing
asking.
is, like, okay, so this thing was listed a week ago as of today. It sold a couple of days ago. That
So
thing
it
sold that fast.
sold in 5 days.
I thought there's no way this thing's gonna sit on marketplace forever.
Who in the Northland has the money for a duck boat and
Well,
is into
okay.
duck boats?
So this is Sparland, Illinois. So
Okay, all right.
you know, you got like a pretty fairly big area around you.
You could be anywhere from Milwaukee to Chicago.
Totally.
I mean, I don't know how hard they are to come by. So maybe even somebody down in like Kansas City, Des Moines, whatever is like, I want one.
Anywhere where there's lakes, or I don't even know. Like maybe it's a collector or something like that. I don't know how it came to be, but
I
somebody
can't believe he sold it that
purchased
quickly.
this thing. And now I feel like such an idiot. I could not believe it when I pulled it up.
And
I was like, because I'd like to do that. Like if I find something completely ridiculous, I like to try and like look it up and go, okay, what's the update on this?
I wish it would tell you. Excuse me.
You need to get some fucking sleep,
Oh
kid.
god, I went to bed at like 11 last night. I wish people would tell you what they sold it for. Like it says sold, and then it's like 34 grand. It's like, oh cool. So he almost got asking for it.
Yeah, I mean, if I had to guess, I think it's probably in the 20s. I think somebody offered 30, maybe 29, something like that.
Yeah, I'd say that's a very safe guess.
You could be right though, because if it's sold in 4 days, yeah, maybe it was like 32 or something like that.
Maybe, or maybe he posted at 35. Somebody said, "Hey, I got 27 cash."
That's true.
And the guy's like,
yeah.
"You know what? I'm 70. I'm gonna die next week. I'll take it."
I gotta like hand this down to my kids. Jesus Christ, 70, I'm gonna die next week. Yeah, man. So there it is. This fucking
I'm a little pissed off about this, to be completely honest.
Are
'cause
you?
I would love to own one someday, just because they're so stupid, and I have a thing for stupid things. I mean, look at my car history. I love
Right.
dumb shit. Yeah, I would totally own one in a heartbeat. And the fact that one popped up for sale and I didn't have $35,000 laying around makes me a little upset.
Well, you know, it also could be. Now you're making me on. It also
sorry.
could be the so in, oh God, what is that place in Wisconsin, where the rest of the duck boats are?
The Dells.
The Dells, the Wisconsin Dells. It's entirely possible that the resort down there could have needed to replace something.
And just scooped it up and said, "Hey, we'll give you 30 grand cash. We'll come get it tomorrow."
Exactly. So it's entirely possible that
And
something
you get
like
free
that.
rides for the rest of your life. So 7 rides.
Yeah. Oh man. So do these have wheels in the front? Like I can't. Really
They have a full chassis.
They're
and shit on 'em.
amphibious, so they literally drive. My God,
Yeah.
can you imagine?
I'm telling you, man, we need to build one or buy one someday.
Oh, it'd be
we
so
have 10,000
funny.
lakes. We could make it a bucket list to drive into every lake in Minnesota.
So okay, if you used, how would you do this? So you need to pass a drive shaft through the hull of the boat.
Mm-hmm.
At the bare minimum, you need that. You could probably do the steering outside of the hull. So outside of the boat. It would look horrendous, but you could probably do it either above the water line or just simply outside of the boat. So how would we make an amphibious? I mean, how would we do this? Because you got to keep the motor out of the water.
Yeah, you gotta keep the motor up. Then
Well, you got to keep the intake up.
yeah, that's true.
And the ignition needs to somehow tolerate the wet.
Yeah.
I don't know how that'd work. I don't know. Maybe
Yeah.
you guys know. I don't fucking know.
I would love to attempt it, but we don't have the time or the income to just be like, we're going to give it a month and see what we
Yeah.
can build.
Or the ambition. I don't know.
Maybe the ambition.
Yeah, if I could
Maybe.
do this shit for a living.
Yeah, exactly.
And my living was just people wanting to watch me do dumb shit. Sure.
Sign me up for that. We're going to build that. We're going to build all sorts of fun stuff.
If I'm not doing it for customers, like that's a completely different can of worms.
Yeah.
Just simply doing it because people want to watch. I don't know.
That's why I think Top Gear's, like, if I had a dream job, it'd be to host Top Gear. Because they get to do all that fun stuff. Somebody else is paying for it, and they're like, you're gonna go to Colombia and drive across the country into the mountains, and we're gonna pay for it. I'm like, cool.
Dude, those guys parlayed themselves into basically the greatest jobs in the world.
Yeah.
Jeremy Clarkson doesn't have to do shit.
Yeah, he's a fucking idiot, and he doesn't have to do
He doesn't have to do anything. The only thing that man has to do is
not punch somebody.
Yeah. Well, he did that, and then it paid off because he got even more money doing the Grand Tour.
That's what I know.
So, like, what does he even have any other shows? I don't even think he does.
No, I think he writes for a magazine.
Okay.
I think he does.
That can't be that much income.
No. Car is fast. Okay.
I'm going to guess that Clarkson is probably the brains behind Top Gear. I bet.
I would think so. Yeah, let's say that's safe.
Because Hammond and May both have a bunch of other projects. Hammond is on fucking everything.
Yeah, and he's in the hospital every 6 months, almost dying
That's
from
true.
a car crash.
He's got to pay his medical bills.
But
No, he's in the UK where there's no medical bills.
He crashed another car not too long ago.
Another one?
He had some electric supercar.
Oh, well, that was years ago.
Was that
Yeah.
years ago? Okay, I just saw that it showed up on, was it Drive Tribe?
Yeah, it's
It showed
pretty,
like a month ago that he went down the hill with it.
Oh, yeah? Did you guys watch the video?
I watched it. Yeah, it goes up in
It's
flames on that. They pull him out of a burning car, essentially.
Yeah, it's pretty nasty.
Yeah, he said that. He raced one other one wrecked one at their test track back in the day, too.
Yeah, he did. Was it an F1 car or something like that? Or it was like the baby F1 cars. I don't remember exactly what it was, but so he's gotten in a million accidents.
Either way, I mean, they travel the world to different countries, driving different cars, trying different food, meeting different people, and just getting paid
Yeah.
insane amount of money.
Oh yeah, they are worth so many millions of dollars. Just like truly living the dream.
Like, what did you do? Well, we drove secondhand motorcycles through Vietnam and made $10 million doing it, or whatever they got paid. Yeah.
At least $10 million, because you have to figure like the residuals from something like that, from a show that is going to continue to be watched for decades.
Oh yeah, Top Gear is the sole purpose. I have a subscription to Motor Trend.
Oh yeah, well,
Like, there's other stuff
me
on
it's
that,
roadkill, but yeah,
For me, it's Top
exactly.
Gear. Like I love going back and just watching old episodes and be like, oh, how cool is that? They tied a rocket onto a Mini Cooper.
Oh man. What was the one where they stack cars on top of them and the top car was the steering for the bottom car?
Oh God, yeah, that's right.
That was so fucking funny.
Well, and then they do
man.
like reasonable stuff too, where they're like, can we rally race for cheap?
Yeah, was that when they were in Sweden?
No, they're seeing rally racing
I'm
was
sorry, guys.
was cheaper than golf, and they had what do you have? I think somebody had an MR2 if I remember correctly. I can't remember what the other two cars were, and they did like a full day's worth of rally racing, and it was awesome.
Yeah, that sounds pretty fucking rad.
And here you and I are.
Was it a 3 Series BMW?
I think so.
Yeah. Okay, so I think I know which one you're talking about. I don't remember what the third car was.
I can't remember what May had.
Might have been a 323, little Mazda 323 or something like that.
Yeah, some shit
I don't
box.
fucking know. You guys can tell us, the 4 people that are probably watching this.
But either way, it's like, here, we're gonna pay for all the dumb shit you're doing, have fun, and just be funny.
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay, I could do that. Why does somebody pay me
It
millions
is
of dollars to do
the
it?
dream. I don't know. It's pretty good. So hey, we got any updates about the projects?
Yeah, I'm still working on it.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
So we will finally have the episode 3 of the E30 series out really quick here. So for those that aren't familiar with what we do, we're primarily dad mods. So Brews of the Dudes is a podcast project of dad mods, and for the dad mods videos, we like to try and update you guys during the podcast. So The latest video that's going to be coming out is the E30 episode 3, and in that one we talk about, or we show you guys how we fit Porsche 911 seats into it, and then did sort of the front end upgrade, we'll call it.
Yeah, controlled accident.
Yes.
Yeah.
So basically, like we clean everything up, we paint the front end, and we push in the bumpers, and it's pretty hilarious.
It's very hilarious. I can't wait. I was there, obviously, but I have not seen the final finished product of it, so I
You'll
am
laugh.
beyond excited to see it because I was laughing my ass off in the moment, and I know I'm just gonna watch it again and just pee myself with excitement.
It's a good time. So that's the next video that's going to be coming out. Following that, we'll be doing a Ford video, assuming that we get the electrical done in time. Otherwise, it's sort of like we're banked a little bit on E30 videos, so I might shift, just stay focused on that one as well. It's usually our videos are like we've got more than enough content filmed that we have a steady stream of videos to produce. But with the Ford, with the Shoebox Ford, we're actually completely caught up on that. So the next video doesn't come out until we're literally done with the wiring portion of it, which is the chassis wiring. So currently, what we're doing on that is we're filming a video on how you wire up and update the vintage gauges. So they're old 6-volt positive ground, which is an oxymoron.
Yeah, that's mind-boggling all its own.
It's weird. So we're wiring all of that. We're updating all of the electrical. We are doing new lights in it. We clean the thing up. We show you how you open up the housing and clean all of it out and stuff like that. So that's going to be a really great video, I think.
I completely agree with you.
And also the actual electrical video is going to be pretty.
Yeah, just running and mounting the speedway harness and all that kind of stuff will be fantastic.
Yeah, that's going to be really helpful for people who are wondering about, like, what do I do? How do I update the wiring in this thing, or how do I update the electrical? If you want to do an entire new harness, we're gonna show you guys how we did it. So it's pretty cool.
And funny enough, the BMW is getting electrical wire too.
Yeah, it's hilarious that we're on the same stuff.
But yeah, engine bay wiring is practically done. Need a little bit of luing. Need to wire in the MAF, and then bundle everything up the final way. A couple of brackets. And
that's gonna be awesome.
Then we'll be filming a little tip video, which we have yet to come up with a name for.
Well, we got a really funny name, but I don't know if we're going to be able to use it.
Yeah. Just use your imagination with that one.
We could tell them.
Yeah, just the tip.
Just the tip, which would be a fucking hilarious name.
I still think we should go for it.
I don't know. Okay, so we've got our first contributor to the show now.
We should ask them what they think about it. We could email them.
I don't know.
Would you still want to be a part of this?
I don't. No, not yet. So we've had a couple of contributors. We've had the Loki Foundation for the Arts, and we've had Super Clean Auto, which Super Clean is fucking like awesome. What a amazing contributor to the show, because it's literally one of the biggest cleaning brands, automotive cleaning brands, like in the country.
Easily.
It's crazy.
There's
it's crazy.
Here's a box of stuff.
Yeah,
Go
here's
crazy.
stuff. Let the people know. Try it out. If you like it, tell people about it, and we'll scratch your back and all that stuff.
Yeah, we'll just keep sending you more shit.
Yeah, it's awesome. Like we love it. And the kicker is, it's not just like, because we've had like 4 other people approach us. We've had like.
I could
basically
think of a
like
local
Amazon
company.
brand stuff. We've had like people who produce LEDs and stuff like that, and a lot of it was just like, I don't know, just like kind of questionable about it. It's like, I don't know this brand.
Very shake weighty.
Yeah, shake weight's like an actual product. This is kind of like
true.
It's like Amazon, it's like Wish.com kind of stuff. It's so we've had others approach us with it, and we just I don't know, like. I don't know. So anyway, Super Clean is an actual big legitimate brand that that has actually good shit.
Yeah, I've used
so we're okay
degrees in
talking
the
about
past.
it.
It's incredible.
Yeah,
it's really good stuff.
It's really good stuff. So we're going to be using their products, and we'll talk a little bit more about it. And actually, most recently, we got a lot of love from Speedway Motors, which
Yeah, I am still just blown away by that.
yeah. So they shared one of our posts and kind of give us a little bit of kudos on it, which is so wild. Like
That I don't think you probably know your Ford is gonna get a ton of love, especially once it's on the road.
I hope so.
It will.
I'm building it. Pretty cool. I mean, I'm doing good shit to it, so hopefully
yeah.
it's gonna see some love.
It'll get a ton of love.
I hope so. Yeah, man. So I don't know. Like anything, I'm anxious for the channel to blow up. It hasn't yet. It's a slow growth. I'm getting jealous of some of the other channels I'm watching that I've been following since they were like fairly small, and now like Puddin's Fab Shop, which you always chuckle about the name.
Puddins.
Just skyrocketed up to 40,000 subscribers. Like, channel just fucking blew up.
It's funny you say that.
It's like I'm happy for the dude. It's awesome. I also kind of want our channel to see that kind of success because I think we do a good job.
So I was in O'Reilly's talking to Alan. Who, if you don't know who Alan is, watch our very first episode on Dad Mods. And awesome dude.
He's the flag girl.
Yep, he's yeah, totally. He's the manager of the local O'Reilly shop, and we're just BS and all that, talking about new employees and all that kind of crap. And I told him, I'm like, I would totally work for you if I could afford it. He's like, well, what would it take for you to afford it? I'm like, I need Dad Mods to be bringing in income. Essentially, I need to be able to cover a majority of my wages so I could work part-time at some other job.
Totally.
And we went on this whole rant for about 15 minutes about how he's going to stay up late and make 30,000 different YouTube accounts and just subscribe to our channel.
That is so funny.
And what's funny is I kind of believed him on it because it's Alan.
You
and I could
put it past him.
I could totally see him doing it.
That's the thing. I don't know. It's really awesome. It's like we might not have a big count right now, but what we do have is a lot of people that really love what we do, and they're super supportive. Like we got such an awesome group of people that pay attention to our channel, and I don't know.
It's just a matter of time.
It's super cool, and yeah, like we've got people like Alan who just is like from the beginning has been such a good supportive person.
Alan is like a 10-year-old girl at Disneyland running into Cinderella.
Yeah, no shit.
Every time we walk into O'Reilly's. Just like that.
He is just such a sweetheart.
Yeah. He's a big cuddly bear. I know he's going to watch this too, so shout out to Alan.
He's been on, one or two of our podcasts?
2, I think.
And once we finally get everything ironed out and we got a couple other things to work out here, but we're almost ready for guests. So I think we can, look
have him in person?
At doing that pretty quick here. Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, man. So I don't know. Let's wrap this thing up.
I gotta go to bed.
I'll extract my tongue from all of your asses and say just thank you so much for all of the love that we get. We've got low viewer count on the podcast, but we've got very consistent listeners and watchers, and I don't know. It's awesome. We really appreciate it. And as far as like the Dad Moz channel goes, it's fucking awesome that we're just seeing like video after video cranking out 3,000, 5,000, whatever views on some of these things.
Oh yeah.
That's humbling.
Love it.
Yeah. So
keep on keeping on.
Hey, thanks you guys very much. We really do appreciate it. And we're going to see you next week where we talk about
cats.
We're going to talk a lot about cats. So you guys have a great week. Yeah. We'll see you on the flippity flip flop flop flippity.
Adios.
Bye-bye.